How you doing?
Can I give you a kiss? Not
Yeah.
kiss the camera, but kiss you. Hello. Nice to see you. That was great.
You know that's how to get along with the paparazzi.
The paparazzi.
She gives them a kiss, they give her the
Hi.
best angles.
Good to see you.
Very good to see you.
Red light is on.
The red light is on. And
Emerald. Yes, there's only one brother. She's actually, you know, like her own.
I should know. It's your
Saying good things.
This is Hal.
well, how are you doing? How are you doing? Oh, look at those eyes.
Can you smile?
He sure is.
What is that? Hi. Hello. He's 5 months old. Harold.
Oh,
Hi, how are you, Marge? Nice to see you. Hi, Marge.
Hi. Who are you? Where did you come from? Who? What are you doing?
Coming out of the woodwork. Everyone's staying
Dan?
man.
He's coming, I think. Yes.
I locked in.
Yeah, after my dad died, we sort of got it.
Oh, look at those eyes.
Yeah, he's
Ah.
a sweetie. By third, keeping me busy. So,
He has a little John. He has a little John in him.
yeah, I think so.
How's everything with you? Everything okay?
Yeah,
Good?
busy, very busy.
Great.
Work and
John we see fairly often, fairly regularly. We saw him for Passover. We had everybody
oh no,
over.
it's the duo camera shoot.
We're getting the crunch here. He'll be out of
Stuck in the
focus.
middle.
The two of them are taking pictures of each other.
I know. So it's been a hard week for you guys, huh?
How are you?
Nice to meet you. You're the official photographer.
No, you're not.
I'm just fooling around.
Environmentalist.
Thank you. Hi, Ann.
Hi.
Hi,
Hello,
Dan.
Mary.
How are you? Great to see you. Thank you, Susie. Hi. Hello, my brother Ed.
No, I'm Susie Spitz, and nice to meet
I
you.
bet.
Yeah.
Because I know she's the file. Are you a doctor?
No.
How come?
Thank God.
I had enough of them. Jonathan was the only one that missed it in that family.
Kathy.
Oh, that's right. Kathy?
She was responsible. That's what she told me.
It was a baby.
That was in 91, so that's Leah. She's about
I
6
always
and a half.
wondered whether you had a...
And then we balanced with little boy Joshua. He was 18 months.
Wonderful.
You have 3 children.
Just two. But we do have a goldfish. First,
I hate to tell you, but they don't live too long.
actually, this one Leah has an orange thumb. This fish is hardy, is lean, is well fed, plenty of oxygen.
Good luck.
We're not talking years here. We're talking
Mark research. We had our second, and Ross is running out.
Get the new one.
Don't go in with those clinical studies people. I'm telling you, no Wall Street clinical studies people.
My husband's ready to go now.
I'm Dick Poe, Chairman of the Board of University Hospitals of Cleveland and its parent University Hospitals Health System. And it's my pleasure to welcome all of you this afternoon, especially Dr. Mary Hellerstein, who is here with us, her children, and the other members of the Hellerstein family. And I understand that a number of them have traveled substantial distances to be here today, so we're very, very pleased that we've been able to gather so many members of the family to pay tribute to one of University Hospital's most distinguished physician researchers, Dr. Herman K. Hellerstein, and to thank the many, many donors to the Herman K. Hellerstein MD Chair in Cardiovascular Research. As one of the leading academic medical centers, research is an important dimension of University Hospitals of Cleveland and our tripartite mission to heal, to teach, to discover. And it's through the efforts of dedicated, leading-edge researchers such as Dr. Hellerstein that University Hospitals has always been able to offer its patients the most advanced treatments in a compassionate setting. The outpouring of gifts from friends and colleagues, patients, and family members is a remarkable tribute to Dr. Hellerstein's memory. The establishment of the Hellerstein Chair is a way to continue his pioneering research efforts to which he dedicated his entire professional career. I would now like to present to you Farrah Walters, who is President and Chief Executive Officer of University Hospitals of Cleveland and its parent system. Farrah?
Thank you, Dick, and good afternoon. It's really a pleasure to have all of you here this afternoon. And I was just mentioning to Dr. Thames that I actually knew Dr. Hellerstein in my old life when I was a nutritionist. I had a master's in nutrition, and in those days, anyone who studied nutrition, Dr. Hellerstein was truly a legendary figure. And he was actually one that we always referred to because he was one of the earliest believers in the benefit of nutrition and diet in one's health and fitness, and of course in prevention of coronary disease, but also in management of heart disease. And because of that, I have read many of his studies and was quite familiar with his work, so it's truly a pleasure to come here years later after I had left that field and to recognize such a distinguished physician and researcher. We are pleased and excited to honor the philanthropic spirit and generosity of all the donors who made the successful completion of the Hellerstein Chair possible. Today is truly a celebration. An endowed chair in Dr. Hellerstein's name at University Hospitals of Cleveland was a dream of Dr. Hellerstein's wife, Mary, and their children, as a fitting way to recognize his achievements and cap his impressive career in the field of cardiology. I know I express everyone's thoughts when I say that I wish he were here to witness this joyous occasion. The dream of many has been made a reality through the generous support of almost 300 donors who enabled us to raise more than $1,250,000 for the Hellerstein Chair. I would like to express my thanks to everyone who contributed to this important effort. It is especially gratifying to know that many of these gifts are in appreciation for the care that was given by Dr. Hellerstein. I would like to take a moment to recognize a few of the leadership donors to the Hellerstein Chair. Jim and Bee Crush, as a grateful patient, Jim and his wife Bee have made both a significant outright gift and have sponsored an annual golf event called the Open Heart Open, which has raised nearly $150,000 for cardiac research over 15 years. American Greetings Corporation, Irving Stone and Maury Weiss made the largest corporate gift to the chair. Leo Dempsey contributed to Dr. Hellerstein's research over the years, including a major commitment to the chair. Rick and Marcy Horvitz also made a generous pledge to the chair. The success of the Herman K. Hellerstein MD Chair in cardiovascular research was due in large part to the tireless efforts of Vera Hasselman. Mrs. Hasselman served as Dr. Hellerstein's assistant for 29 years. She was intent on pursuing the idea of an endowed chair and dedicated herself to making the Hellerstein family's dream become a reality. Through her efforts, many of Dr. Hellerstein's former patients and colleagues made gifts to the Hellerstein Chair. I'm sorry that Vera could not be with us today. She had an injury and she was unable to attend. But I have to tell you that this would have been an occasion that she would not have missed for anything. And I know how many times she approached me to talk about this chair and how much she cared about making this happen. So even though she is not here, I would like to recognize Vera by asking you for a round of applause in her honor. The Herman K. Hellerstein MD Chair in Cardiovascular Research is a tremendous enhancement to our growing clinical and research programs at university hospitals. Establishment of the chair will do a great deal to strengthen our cardiovascular research capabilities, keeping the hospital at the forefront of cardiology. Now I would like to invite Dr. Mark Thanks to speak about Dr. Hellerstein's professional and personal accomplishments. Dr. Thanks served as the chief of the Division of Cardiology for more than 8 years and has recently become director of the Cardiovascular Research Institute. He had the opportunity to work with Dr. Hellerstein for many years and has been an integral part of the fundraising efforts to complete the chair in memory of Dr. Hellerstein. Mark?
Thank you, Farah. First, I'd like to welcome everybody here, and this is, of course, a very joyous occasion that we can come together to celebrate the completion of the funding of the Hellerstein Chair. I would like to add my words of thanks to all of the donors and their tremendous generosity, without whom this would have been really impossible. And I'd also like to thank Mrs. Walters and my chairman, Dr. Adel Mahmoud, who endorsed this plan for the Hellerstein Chair and who really got behind this and helped to push this along. And because of the successful completion of the chair, as you heard from Mrs. Walters, there were some key players that were involved, and I would like to add my words of thanks to Vera Husselman, who showed incredible energy and tenacity, as well as leadership in making this happen. All you had to do was point her in the right direction, and there was no stopping her. She was really something. As you know, Dr. Hellerstein was an internationally known pioneer in cardiology. In fact, it was really amazing to go to cardiology grand rounds, and at the end of most grand rounds, he'd have something to say about almost everything, and the reason for that is he'd done research in almost every area of contemporary cardiology that you can imagine. It really was amazing to hear many of the things he did with Carl Wiggers some years ago in classical physiology, and then subsequently he became best known for his work, all related to the management of patients who were post-myocardial infarction, including diet, smoking cessation, exercise, and cardiac rehabilitation. Dr. Hellerstein was emeritus professor at Case Western Reserve University and cardiologist at University Hospitals of Cleveland, and was seeing patients and writing and working up nearly to the time of his death. He published more than 384 papers and contributed to more than 20 books, including his autobiography entitled A Matter of Heart. I actually sat with Dr. Hellerstein a number of times to discuss this idea of the Hellerstein Chair, and in fact sat with him in his room days before he died to discuss our plans to move ahead with this. And I think it was a big disappointment to him that he could not be directly involved in the fundraising and pushing things along. It would take days really to go over with you all of his accomplishments. He received many awards, including the American Heart Association Gold Heart Award, the Citation Award of the American College of Sports Medicine, the Distinguished Alumnus Award of Case Western Reserve, and the 1993 Pioneer in Cardiac Pacing and Electrophysiology Award from the North American Society of Pacing and Electrophysiology. He was among 14 pioneer Cleveland cardiologists selected for the Cleveland Health Museum's display entitled On the Shoulders of Giants in 1988. And he was inducted recently into the Cleveland Medical Hall of Fame and is among approximately 50 physicians who are in this Hall of Fame. He was the co-director of the National Exercise and Heart Disease Project for the U.S. Department of Health, Education and Welfare and the National Institutes of Health. And throughout his career, he was active in the American Heart Association, the American College of Cardiology, and many other societies. Dr. Hellerstein, as I mentioned, really was involved in managing the patients who had a heart attack. And he's often credited as being the father of cardiac rehabilitation. He was the one who had the idea of getting people out of bed early. When I started my training, which was about 30 years ago, Dr. Hellerstein's concepts were really revolutionary, because at that time we used to put people in bed for 3 weeks after a heart attack, and there was really not much attention to diet, and people didn't know what to do about smoking. And it was really Dr. Hellerstein who pushed hard to get people out of bed early, to ambulate them, to get them involved in cardiac rehabilitation. And at the time, his theories were controversial, but the passage of time has proven them to be absolutely correct. And the things that we do today are completely consistent with what he had proposed all along. His contributions to medicine, as a result, affect us all in various ways, whether we talk about exercise, smoking cessation, changes in diet, whatever. His efforts have had a tremendous impact on the health of all Americans, and it makes it a special privilege to be able to have a chair in his honor here at University Hospitals. Not only was Dr. Hellerstein a brilliant physician and researcher, but he was a compassionate and caring caregiver. I used to see Dr. Hellerstein actually go with his patients to the cath lab. He didn't do cardiac catheterizations, but he would actually go to the laboratory when a patient had a heart catheterization to be with them. And if they needed an angioplasty or some other interventional procedure, he was right there with them. He was really an amazing guy in that regard. I had the privilege of assuming responsibility for the care of many of Dr. Hellerstein's patients, and I can tell you that every one of them speaks glowingly and with great warmth about their feelings of him. In addition to all of this, of course, Dr. Hellerstein was a dedicated husband and father, and as well as a physician. And he and Mary, of course, were blessed with 6 wonderful children, all of whom are here today. A number of their children have followed in their parents' footsteps, pursuing careers in medicine, as well as in other professions. A fitting tribute to a great teacher and mentor for so many. On behalf of University Hospitals, I wish to thank all of you who contributed to bring this project to fruition. I know how important this was for Dr. Hellerstein's family and what an impact it will have on the future of cardiac care for patients in Cleveland and throughout the world. I know that it was very important to Herman Hellerstein himself that we have a chair called the Herman K. Hellerstein Chair here at University Hospitals. Your gifts have helped to ensure that the memory of Dr. Hellerstein will live on through the work that was so close to his heart. I'd like to mention that our plan is to begin the recruitment of the first Hellerstein Chair in Cardiovascular Research during the coming academic year, and so sometime later in the academic year, meaning perhaps after the first of the calendar year, we'll be able to announce to you who that person will be. At this point, I'd like to turn the podium back to Mrs. Farrah Walters to formally dedicate the Herman K. Hellerstein MD Chair in Cardiovascular Research.
Thank you, Mark. In terms of the relationship between Dr. Hellerstein and his patients, I think today I have met quite a few, and that is really a tribute to him. That many of them indicated that they wanted to be here, and it's amazing that after all these years, the patients have come back to pay their tribute to the memory of Dr. Hellerstein, and we're delighted that you have all joined us. Everyone present today has played an important part in the years of hard work that went into reaching the goal of endowing the Hellerstein Chair. Today, it's my great pleasure, on behalf of University Hospitals of Cleveland, to dedicate the Herman K. Hellerstein MD Chair in Cardiovascular Research. I would now like to read a portion of the formal resolution passed by the Board of Trustees to establish the chair. I usually don't like all these legalese, but I think today it's important to read some of the whereases. Whereas the Board of Trustees of University Hospitals of Cleveland desires to recognize the significant contributions which have been made by Dr. Herman K. Hellerstein to University Hospitals of Cleveland, which will help to make possible significant advances in the understanding and successful treatment of cardiovascular disease. And whereas Dr. Hellerstein served with great distinction in treating patients and collaborating with colleagues, and in addition to providing leadership to the faculty, he was an inspiration to medical students and residents, and first and foremost, he provided the most generous care and support for his patients. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of University Hospitals of Cleveland hereby establish the Herman K. Hellerstein MD Chair in Cardiovascular Research. I would now like to ask Dr. Hellerstein's children, David J. Hellerstein, MD, and Catherine Hellerstein, PhD, to step forward and say a few words on behalf of the family.
Thank you very much. 12 years ago, on April 18, 1986, upon my dad's official retirement as a professor of medicine at Case Western Reserve Medical School, I toasted him as a masterful teacher, both of medicine to his students and of writing to his children, including the health scientists and the writers among us. 5 years ago, this coming August, I read a poem at my father's funeral praising him as a mensch, an exemplary person who conducted his own life and his relationship with others according to his mother's constant query, "What have you done lately for humanity?" Today, I'm really happy and honored to be able to say a couple words on behalf of my mother, Mary Hellerstein, Dr. Mary Hellerstein, and my brothers and sisters, David, Jonathan, Daniel, Susan, and Beth, as we celebrate the dedication of this fabulous chair. First of all, we'd like to say how honored we are and to thank all the people at the university hospitals and at Case Western Reserve University, if that's relevant, I think, who've worked so hard these past years to make the chair a reality. President Farrah Walters, Mr. Gary Weimer, Dr. Mark Thames, and especially, as both of you have said so beautifully, Mrs. Vera Husselman, a good friend of our families and my father's devoted administrative assistant for many years. We are really, really unhappy that she's not here today, and we wish her a speedy recovery. And of course, last but hardly least, all of you who have contributed so generously to make this chair a reality. This establishment of this chair means a great deal to us. It's not a monument, but it's a living memorial. It allows the continued renewal of values by which my father lived and taught. As an endowed research position, this chair enables a younger scientist, physician, to develop research and, I hope, teaching that will enable the reach of medicine to expand, to prevent and cure heart disease and improve the lives of those who suffer from it for our generation and your generation and the generations that follow. Our family, as I think my brother David is going to tell us in a minute, has a very long and complex and interesting deep connection to this institution, and it spans over 100 years and 5 or maybe now 6 generations. And even I, while completing my doctorate in Yiddish literature at Stanford years ago, found in a professor here at Reserve, Bernard Martin, professor of religion, one of my dissertation readers. So it's not just a medical connection to this place. but this chair makes official and permanent the connection with all the kavod, the honor and respect that my father deserved. My dad loved to quote, as probably most of you know. He quoted from Gilbert and Sullivan, from Sholem Aleichem and Maimonides, and so I'm going to end with a quote from Pirkei Avot, which is the Ethics of the Fathers, a book that I found on my father's office bookshelf in an English translation. It's a traditional Hebrew text that Jews read throughout the week, the couple of weeks that go between Passover and Shavuos, a holiday which happens to be ending right now, this afternoon. And in this text, the Ethics of the Fathers, a rabbi, an old rabbi, Rabbi Elazar ben Shammai, says, "Let the honor of your student be as dear to you as your own, and the honor of your colleague be like the reverence due to your teacher, and the reverence for your teacher be like the reverence for heaven." Well, we've heard, my family has heard many times that our dad was a really great teacher and researcher who honored his students and his colleagues even as he challenged their ideas. And he revered his own teachers even as he pushed beyond their innovations. In his autobiography, he wrote of a man whom he went to work under at the Michael Reese Institute in Chicago in 1946, Louis N. Katz, MD. And this is what my father said. "Katz was a superb teacher and molder of men, whose teaching perpetuated the noble tradition of his own mentor and intellectual father, here at Reserve, Professor Wiggers. What Louis Katz taught my father, was how to be a doctor who gets to, in my dad's words, the heart of the matter, in both the patient's human constellation and physiological problems, how to be a scientist who questions accepted truths, and how to be a teacher who challenges, scrutinizes, counsels, and occasionally approves." That was my father talking about Katz, but I think probably it's about my father as well. The establishment of this chair in my father's name transforms a commemoration of the past into an opportunity to shape the future. Ever the optimist, my dad wrote at the end of his autobiography, "Old men and women have dreams, young men and women have visions. As far as I'm concerned," he said, "the key thing is not that the past was glorious, but that the future is better. The best is yet to come." And I hope that this endowed position will bode well for the future for the coming years. And I say Mazel Tov and Yasher Koyach. My dad would have liked the Yiddish, I think. Congratulations to all of you. Thank you very much.
When discussing what she and I would each say today, Catherine, who just has spoken, mentioned that she was going to thank everyone, all the people who have made today possible, doctors, donors, relatives, patients, and friends. Being the older sister, she then gave me my assignment. Tell about our family's connection to Western Reserve since the 1800s, she said. All the generations of the family who have been involved with the hospital and the medical school. Marcus Rosenwasser in the 1800s, Harold File in the early 1900s, Dad, Mom, Daniel, Beth, and so on. And tell about the way medicine has changed in that time. And then maybe something about the meaning of Dad's work as a doctor and as a teacher and a scientist. Do you think you could do that? I hesitated a moment. I'm not sure, I said. Sure you can, she said. You'll have about 5 minutes. Clearly that's not an easy task, but here goes. From the time that our Father Herman Hellerstein entered Western Reserve as an undergraduate in the early 1930s, until his death in 1993, Dr. Herman Hellerstein's life was intimately involved with this hospital, this medical school, and this university, as well as with this community. As an undergraduate and as a medical student before World War II, and as a postgraduate fellow and faculty member, an attending physician and research scientist after the war, he spent over 60 years here, an entire career. He was astonishingly energetic, amazingly dedicated, and incredibly prolific. Indeed, for several generations of medical students, residents, and postgraduate fellows, as well as for us 6 children, he set a standard to aspire toward, a standard of excellence as a clinician and scientist and physician. Many people in this room have benefited from his dedication. Perhaps some would not even be here but for his expertise in fixing their hearts. There are others who benefited from his teaching, often inspiring, sometimes painful, always challenging. He dared his students to see things differently, to challenge the accepted wisdom, to test their hypotheses, to take nothing for granted, and above all, to accept the responsibility of creating new knowledge. I often run across former students of his, often who are now well-known professors and doctors, who invariably tell about the profound impact he had as a teacher and role model. And many people not in this room, many people across the country, have benefited from the larger impact of his work as well. Not only his over 300 scientific publications, his many books, but also through his direct contact with the media, print or video, or on the lecture circuit. Long before it was fashionable, Herman Hellerstein believed in the value of going directly to the public, the importance of getting the message out. Just make sure that they spell your name right, he always said. Not only for self-promotion, not for self-aggrandizement though, but for the purpose of communicating, whether about the importance of exercise and a healthy diet, or the dangers of cigarette smoking, or the need for optimism about returning cardiac patients to a normal and active life. In his eyes, it was essential to think of the larger society, to find connections between one's work in the basic laboratory or the hospital and the issues and problems of the larger community. In all these things, Herman Hellerstein was not alone. There were many colleagues here at Case Western Reserve and at other medical centers who shared his interests and his dedication. In some ways, his career was typical of that of academic doctors in what now looks like the golden age of medicine, from the late 1940s through the early 90s, a time when medical science made incredible advances and in which doctors were kings. Now, of course, as we face the beginning of the 21st century, we are beleaguered by new forces, managed care, economic competition, and various kinds of ethical dilemmas. In the model of clinician scientist, the academic physician is threatened by many of these dangers and these changes. We know that Dad would be fighting mad about many of these things, and that he would insist on the need for maintaining academic rigor, for providing outstanding education and compassionate care, despite the forces of the current marketplace. The importance of discovery, of original research, and of educating new doctors to the highest standard, and the importance of providing excellent care, all these things he was passionate about. So my siblings and my mother and I know how proud he would be at this moment, knowing that something of his legacy would be preserved, providing opportunities for future research and training in clinical care. We thank you all for making this possible and for being here today.
Well, thank you both for those wonderful remarks on behalf of the family. We appreciate that very much. One of the very satisfying benefits of being a trustee of this institution is to have the opportunity to work with individuals of the stature of Dr. Hellerstein. And so it gives us a great pleasure and satisfaction to see the wonderful expression of support for Dr. Hellerstein, who, as you have heard and as we all know, played a key role in making University Hospitals of Cleveland one of the nation's great academic medical centers. This brings our program to a close. We thank all of you for being here to share in this dedication ceremony. Thank you, and we hope you'll stay for refreshments.
Yes, brother. Right. I played golf with him last Sunday.
Run into you in various places.
Right.
I heard you on the city phone.
Oh, yes.
Oh, hi, Ed. Hi. Maybe I should get rid of one of these glasses.
Here, why don't you,
My brother wants to take a picture.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Tony Basewell.
Hi.
One of her students. Oh.
Yes.
Was I right about my dad as a teacher?
Absolutely. I mean, he... Okay, one way or the other, we'll get... I didn't meet all of them. I met your daughter. Absolutely right. Of course, I met them all at one time or another. Where's the youngest one? The youngest one was the daughter, as I remember. Something that he was using when he was working on the exercise physiology program back in the early 70s, and then talked me into going into medicine. And if it weren't for him, I wouldn't have gone into it, yeah.
Okay. I heard your story from him at different points. Yeah, that's great.
He's, thank you. It's nice to meet you too. He's like my godfather. Did you become a cardiologist? No, actually, I was probably the only little bit of disappointment when I told him I was going to become an obstetrician. And I'm a maternal fetal medicine specialist over here in Cleveland. So.
Did you meet my sister Susan? She's an OB/GYN.
Once upon a time I did, right. So, but yeah, your dad had a vision, there's no question about it. And more so than anybody else that I ever worked with. So, that's great.
You probably knew my father, Harold Fudd.
Yes, I did. Yeah, I met him a few times when I'd make rounds with Dr. Hellerstein. How about that? Yeah. So that's a long time.
I really want to put these glasses
Yeah.
on my hands.
Here, you want me to meet you?
One of them now.
Well,
Relationship between the hospitals and the members of this chair. Don't worry about it, it's okay. I didn't want to make any gaps.
Okay.
Thank you.
I wanted to tell you that you're friendly with Juanita Goodwin.
Oh yes. Okay.
And I'm going into New York the 11th of July to meet Shirley, her mother, who we always meet in the summer.
Oh,
Do
great.
you still correspond with her?
Yeah, I'm trying to maybe about in the last year a little bit. Yeah. Give her my regards.
Well,
to her mom.
Jay Ankeny.
Oh, hello. Very nice to see you. It's been a long time.
Very nice. It's all true.
Do you know my husband, David Stern?
Nice to meet you. Hi.
Jay Ankeny, nice to meet you. Anyway, he was a marvelous person, you know. What he had was imagination and excitement and thrilling interest in what was going on, you know? And that's what made him so productive and associated. He'd go out and talk to anybody, and we enjoyed it. You know? But he was phenomenal.
Yeah, he was. Thank you.
And he made a book out, he sent it out, and nobody bought it. He wanted to make it sort of a book that the students could use, you know. And nobody bought it. He sent it to all the professors in cinematography work, and nobody bought it.
is it basically film and the film and video, or just video?
No, I think it's both. Anyway, he put a lot of money into this production. It kind of fell flat. Anyway, that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Good to see you. I don't know anything big now. When I quit, I quit.
We can be friends. I'll get back to you. Thanks for all your help. Glad to see you.
Nice to see you too. Oh, great. Really like George is fine. Still.
So where are you staying now? Are you staying?
No, well, I'm in Cleveland. Julie's still France.
Yeah.
No, I'm in Cleveland. Much indebted to him. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Six. All dressed. Dressed.
Wow.
Dressed himself.
Oh, motivated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long till you're out the door?
That is interesting.
Half hour break. No, I stayed home.
I saw him in Switzerland. Yeah, very fantastic.
My brother Ed.
Oh,
Hi, how are you?
And Michael Spector is a pediatric surgeon, wonderful surgeon. And
my dad, Sam Spector,
was my teacher. So we're all in the family.
Closely in this whole area. It's very nice. Unfortunately, I was tied up doing my
Sam kindly. I thought you were coming. We're here. I see. The best surprise is a whole
Oh, thank you, Mary. Thank you. Hi, Mary. How are you? He's been sick. He's been sick. But
you know my brother Ed?
No, I don't.
Ed,
yes, I do. Yes,
the Ratnoffs, Oscar Marion.
Ratnoff.
You know Michael Spector? You know Michael Spector?
Hi.
Sam Spector's son.
Are you
He's a pediatric. Yeah. He's a surgeon.
Everyone says I look like him.
You, the image of it. But I'll tell you one thing, he didn't have great hair.
No, I know. Even now, I have grayer hair than he does.
I like Sam Spector. So I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
You can't. I can't.
Yeah. Well, he literally got up out there. Well, he's getting better and better. He's better.
Fine, how are you? Fine, thank you. I want you to meet my wife, the one who made the paper. Okay?
Yes.
All that, you know, there was a great warmth about it.
I have to go. I know it is. Thanks for being a Harvard.